Good morning, everybody. As you can see, judging by his absence, you can see that myself and Scott are just here by ourselves. Tanner is on the road, and for some reason he's playing the role of Jay this weekend. He's on the roll. So, um, which by the way, fitting that we're talking about Notre Dame because he's going to be in South Bend this weekend. So don't ask me why. But yeah, we are be covering Notre Dame, UConn, the only two independents left because one of them jumped to the MAC conference, as Scott knows. UMass jumping to the MAC. We'll be covering that as well. And the Conference USA to boot is the last conferences of FBS we've yet to cover. So yeah, let's play the 20-second intro and get going. Welcome in, everybody, to Lock It In. I am AP Allen Perales, joined as always by Mr. Bill Belichick himself, Scott.
That was my Belichick.
Sleep at the job. Yeah. If you haven't seen our ACC video, go give that a watch too. It was a good one. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the rest of the FBS today. We've got Conference USA, we've got the MAC, and then of course our two independent schools, UConn and Notre Dame. But yeah, it's almost here, Scott. Week 0 is closing in pretty quickly, so it's good. We're getting down to it for sure.
UMass MAC champions, book it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, we're 2 weeks away. I mean, 29th is week 0. And then all those LSU Clemson type games will be sprinkled in that week. And then we're full-fledged college football the following week. So yeah, it's here. It's here, people. Enjoy it. This is what we've been wanting. So we got it.
Yeah. Why do they got to put the independent? I hate the way ESPN lays this out sometimes, but
I have not looked at ESPN since all those cuts.
Yeah,
because the product has gone downhill quickly.
It really has. It really has.
It's not good anymore. You got Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith fighting now. You got guys and ladies that have never, like, there's a college football female that went up to the NFL, never covered the NFL. I mean, it's just so it's sad. And they got rid of Damian Woody the other day. There was another cut. So I'm not exactly an ESPN fan right now. So
yeah, it's not the best, not for sure.
Not at all.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some college football, and we're going to start with one independent and end with the other. We're going to start with UConn first and foremost. A lot of changes with UConn this year. First and foremost, Jim Mora out, taking the Colorado State job. We talked about that when we were going over the Mountain West. In comes Jason Candle, which is this will be his first I believe this is his first coaching job, his first year as a head coach, taking over this UConn program. A lot of changes here. You know, quarterback competition. You got senior Tucker McDonald, who's been there, but you also got 2 veteran transfers, one coming from Tennessee, one coming from Toledo. They lose their quarterback to the NFL draft. A couple other big name pieces going into the transfer portal, and then of course Jim Moore, the big one of who kind of turned that UConn program around. But here we go. 5.5 is the total here, Scott, for UConn. Looking at their schedule, they start out with back-to-back home games. They got Lafayette coming in. Then they play Maryland. Then they go to Southern Miss, to Miami of Ohio. They got Syracuse on October 3rd coming in their building. They go to Temple. They get the bye week before they play UMass. Like, they need the bye week before UMass. They go to Air Force. They go to Air Force. But some tough games there to finish. You've got North Carolina. Who knows how good they'll be? James Madison, who was in the playoff last year. Old Dominion, who we really like, could be a surprise team, and then at Wyoming to finish this season. Scott, 5.5 for UConn here.
I say under because of new coaching staff, number one. New players at the important positions, number two. Number three, I think they can beat Lafayette. Maryland's going to be a tough game for them. Miami of Ohio is a good MAC team. They're gonna struggle with them. Syracuse we don't know about Syracuse. They hit and miss. They're going to Air Force, which will be a tough game for them, and they finish at Wyoming, which could be snowing in 20-degree weather and windy and not so great. And then you got James Madison in there. Old Dominion's going to get – I say under. I'm not high on Connecticut at all. Jim Moore did a fantastic job with them in short order. That's why he's at Colorado State right now. So I'm going to say under.
I'm going to go under too. You got a guy – although I will say I did just see this. Their coach is coming in from Toledo, who as we know, Toledo has been one of the better group of six schools here recently. They've been probably one of the most underrated group of six schools that we've seen over the course of the last, maybe decade or so in college football. So not saying it's going to take a minute for him to kind of get his foothold in the program. And there's a lot of tough games on here. So, yeah, I'll probably go under as well. But I don't think they'll be quite as bad as people think. They might be pretty competitive. But it's like you said, like we talked about, it'll be a minute before we see them kind of compete. And then, of course, as independent, it doesn't help you at all, to be honest. So
no, because because I used to be coaching independent in high school basketball. You have to go schedule you have to start from zero and schedule your whole season in legitimately 2 weeks. So it's very tough to do. They did a pretty good job at a schedule, but still they got new players, important positions, new coach. You don't know what he's going to be like. You don't know how he's going to handle some of these games in school. So yeah, under. They might win 5 games, but still under.
Yeah, my hometown is now independent because they're just so far out of the mainland of Oklahoma. So it's kind of tough to do when you have to schedule a full 12 games. But hey, we've seen crazier things happen. So
they might go 8-4. We never know. But I just think it's under. So
yeah, me too. We're going to go into the Conference USA now. We're going to start with Delaware. Delaware, their second year in FBS. Delaware, actually not a bad season last year. They were kind of a sleeper team in Conference USA last year until really Kennesaw State took over. A lot of craziness with them, of course. You look at see if I can find their schedule real quick. But, right now they're sitting at 6.5. That's the line for them. Of course, they got their quarterback coming back, who's a proven starter, which is one of their big strengths. 7-6 FCS debut, and they've continued to build organically through their system. Ryan Carty's their head coach. It's now started to garner that positive reputation because of their strong debut. Not many people, again, thought this was going to happen for Delaware, but looking at their schedule, you've got Merrimack here starting out in week 1. They go to Vanderbilt, which is going to be a tough test. Coastal Carolina at home at Virginia. That's not an easy non-conference schedule at all. That is a kind of a brutal non-con for Delaware there. But you got Liberty following the Virginia game. You got Liberty at home. You've got go to Middle Tennessee after the bye week. You've got Missouri State at home. You go to Western Kentucky, to Kennesaw State. You got Florida International, FIU at home. You go to New Mexico State, which could be a rough game, and then Jacksonville State at home. So looking at it here, 6.5 is the win total here for Delaware. What are we liking, Scott?
It's a better team than it was last year, number one, and they were 7-6. The schedule is very tough. I mean, when you step, Merrimack is 4-0 against FBS opponents. Merrimack. So that's not going to be an easy game. Everybody says, "Oh, Merrimack's going to be blood." Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know who Merrimack has played in those four games, but that's going to be tough. You got at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's very down this year. No Diego Pavia. A lot of players left. They're going to be down. Coastal Carolina is okay, and then at Virginia. So you could be 1-3 to start the season. If you're 1-3 to start the season, Kennesaw State's tough. Jacksonville State's tough. At New Mexico State's tough. I'm going to go slightly under. I think Delaware is going to be an improved team, but it might not show in the results. So give me the under for them.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly under. I think they could win 6 out of this. Then they might steal a couple games. If I don't think Virginia's going to be as good as they were this year as they were last year, so that might be one of those potential upset games. And who knows what happens with Coastal Carolina? Yeah, I'm going to go under because that's just a tough schedule, and the Conference USA has kind of been one of the more underrated conferences as far as competitiveness. So, yeah, that's just brutal. So I'm going to go under for Delaware here as well. FIU is starting out here at 6.5 from BetMGM. Looking at some of this, the notes here, the biggest thing is, of course, a new quarterback coming into the fold. Keon Jenkins transferring to UCF, and you've got JJ Cole coming over from Appalachian State. So that's a big thing there. Coach Willie Summers, second year, 7-6 debut for FIU. So there's a lot of promise with this school. This is another team people are starting to give a topic about, but looking at some of their schedule at South Florida, that's a tough road game right out the gut. Buffalo out of the MAC coming in. You go to Florida Atlantic, Long Island on the 26th. You have New Mexico State at home. You go to Jacksonville State. You've got Middle Tennessee at home, and then you get your bye week October 25th. So very middle of the pack late into the season. Then you go to Liberty. You've got Missouri State at home. Go to Delaware, to Kennesaw State, and then you finish the season off with Sam Houston at home. So looking at this, got 6.5 is the win total here for FIU. How we like them?
They have the best tight end in the conference, and he's a sophomore in Razor, however he pronounces his name. So they're really good at the tight end position. The wide receivers are underrated. In the magazine that I have in front of me here, they're third team all conference, both starting wide receivers. That's not bad. Having said that, they're going to be a middle of the pack team. Boy, I'm going to go slightly over. I think they just barely – their first 3 or 4 weeks doesn't look too tough. South Florida, Buffalo, FAU, and Long Island before they get a bye on October 3rd. It doesn't look too tough. But then after that, it's where the toughness comes in. Can they win 3 or 4 games out of that schedule? And I say they can. Going to be tough, but I think they can. So I'm going to say slightly over, but I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't bet it.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly over too. I think they'll be pretty competitive. I like how their roster's constructed, and JJ Cole, he's the headliner there for their transfer portal class. He's a proven starter at Appalachian State, so at least you got steadiness there at quarterback. And yeah, I'll go slightly over as well. I say they have potential to maybe win 8 games this year, which would be something huge for FIU because normally their program is one of the bottom half schools of the conference. So they've done a pretty good job. Willie Simons has come in and done a pretty good job with this team so far in his first year. So let's see how he can complement year 2 for that. One of our favorites, Jacksonville State, is up next. 7.5 is their win total so far. Caden Creel, their quarterback, who's a proven high-level Conference USA starter, is back in the fold. Obviously, you lose a lot of additions off an 8-4 seasons, but knowing head coach Charles Kelly is able to rebuild very well, get a lot more key components coming in. He's a very steady coach. He's won nine plus games for Jacksonville State in 3 straight seasons before last year's 8-4 tumble. But steady coach, steady program. He knows what he's doing. Looking at their schedule, they go to North Dakota State in week 0, which is going to be a fantastic game. Actually, it's a lot better than people think. It will be. Eastern Kentucky, their first home game will be against Eastern Kentucky. Then they go to Ohio, Georgia Southern at home, Middle Tennessee at home. They go to Kennesaw State, FIU at home. Their bye week is here in October 21st. Then they go to New Mexico State. Then they play Sam Houston at home, go to Western Kentucky, Missouri State at home, and then finish the season with Delaware. So 7.5 here for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, Scott.
So you said it in their outlook. Their trend has been 8 wins, 9 wins or more. I'm gonna stay with the trend. I'm gonna go over. I think if they beat North Dakota State, you could be looking at a 5-0 before an October 3rd week off. You really could. And then on the back end, you got at least 2 or 3 games that you can win. At Missouri State and at Delaware is a good way to end the season. So I think they're going to go over. I think they're going to keep the trend going of 8+ wins. And I think Charles Kelly is one of the most underrated coaches in the conference. So I think they could win the conference, but they'll be in the mix with 2 or 3 other teams for the conference. But I'll go over with them.
I'm going to go over, too. This has been one of the most steady programs over the last 5 years. There's even been talk of them maybe being one of those teams to bust into the college football playoff. Out of pedigree and notoriety, if there was a team that could potentially crash the CFP this year out of the CUSA, it could be Jacksonville State, just because of who they are and what they've been able to do. I'm going to go over as well because this is just one of the most steady programs in the country. So I really like them for that.
Yep.
So here we are. Kennesaw State, 2 years ago, they only won 1 game. Last year, they win the Conference USA championship. What a difference a year makes. I believe this is their 3rd season in FBS play, and they've already done fairly well for themselves. You've got their win total right now is at 6.5. You've got Amir Odom, who's the MVP from the title game last year. Big dual threat quarterback. Not many of these small school teams have that type of a quarterback who could be a dual threat on the ground and through the air. So that's a big plus for them. There's a lot of doubt in this team because of what they lost in the transfer portal, but they got a lot of depth back. And, of course, you've got Barron Hobson, who's one of their defensive anchors there in the middle. Coach Jerry Mack, after only winning 2 games in their debut season, comes in and wins a Conference USA championship. They went 8-4 last year. So he's kind of turned that program around in year 2. There's a lot of expectations on them now here in year 3. Starting out with their schedule, they go have a back-to-back home games against West Georgia and Georgia State. Then they go to Knoxville. they go to Neyland Stadium to play Tennessee. And then you go to Arkansas State, which if you saw our show last week, you know how high a lot of us are on Arkansas State this year, especially Scott. Yeah. Jacksonville State at home, to Missouri State, Liberty at home, at Middle Tennessee, Delaware at home, at Sam Houston, FIU at home, and then they finish the season off at Western Kentucky. So interesting schedule here for Kennesaw State. Tanner does point out that the money game at Tennessee, if they if they are very competitive, I don't know how good Tennessee is going to be this year. And I know they're at home. This could be a sleeper upset pick. This might be one of the games, I'm not going to lie, Scott, when we do our long shot of the week. This might be one of this might be one of these picks because Kennesaw State, if they're as any good as they were last year, they could probably go into Neyland Stadium and win, especially if it's not a night game. So what do we think about Kennesaw State here? 6.5 is their win total.
I'm going to go over. I think they could also be an under team. If they get any kind of quarterback play, really consistent quarterback play, they could duplicate what they did last year. Win 10 games, 10 games, be in the mix for the conference championship. But I'm not ready to say that yet. I haven't seen this magazine. Is Ricky Collins as a starting quarterback. I don't know what he is as a quarterback. I've never seen him play before, so I can't comment on him. I'm going to go slightly under. Beware of the magical season with some of these teams. Kennesaw State had a magical season last year. They just really did. Nobody saw it coming. It came out of nowhere. They won the title. And they got in a bowl game and got basically smashed in the bowl game by Western Michigan, 41-6. So, having said that, I need to see them a little bit more. They came out of nowhere. But I agree with you. If that Tennessee spread is like 21 points, I'm going Kennesaw State. I think they'll be in a lot of games. They'll probably lose a lot of close games, but it'll be in them. But again, beware of the magical season with Kennesaw State. They came out of nowhere. To the detriment of one other team, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I'm going to go slightly over. I think they can capitalize off of that and build a steady program. But yeah, I don't think they'll be quite where they were last year. I don't see them being in the Conference USA title game again, especially with an unknown at quarterback. Something like that is you just can't really predict. So I'm staying off them for now. But yeah, I'll just go slightly over. I think they're competitive enough to hit that over total at least. So looking at our next team is a team that we've had a lot of favor for in the past, but here in the last couple of years, they've just kind of fallen off, and that's Liberty. The Liberty Flames here, they're under over right now is 8.5. They are the favorite to win the Conference USA title at plus 260. The thing is, though, it's an open quarterback competition, and like we just said with Kennesaw State, there's a lot of questions there for a lot of the unknowns. You have 3 transfers coming in, plus a redshirt freshman in Ethan Houck. And then Vasco, their starter from last year, unfortunately had to undergo shoulder surgery. You got a bunch of reshuffled staff from last year's collapsing season. Sean Quinn coming over as the defensive coordinator from Virginia Tech. A bunch of QB transfers, a bunch of portal ads. Jamie Caldwell in his 4th year. He's ranked as the top coach in the conference, and he's expected to be back after dealing with his medical problems last year. 4-8 season, just an abysmal finish for Liberty. Just could not do much of anything. A lot of people are leaning the under because it is such a high spread here at 8.5. Looking at their schedule, they start off at James Madison. Right out the gate, a tough matchup. Gardner Webb coming into their place the following week, Ball State after that. You play Coastal Carolina at Coastal Carolina on a short week. You got Delaware at Delaware, Sam Houston at home. You have an October 14th bye week before you go to Kennesaw State, which could be a tough matchup. FIU on Halloween night. Go to New Mexico State, sorry. And then you finish off with Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky at home, and then at Missouri State. So right now they're 8.5. They're the favorites because of all the continuity with this team. However, and then of course, a lot of their head coach coming back and a lot of things like that. However, an abysmal finish for them. Motivation seems like a key for this team. But here's the thing: 8.5 is still a tough number to deal with right there. So what do we think it's got?
I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it with Liberty. I 3 years ago, they were the apple of everybody's eye in college football. They were on the cusp of a college football playoff. 2 years ago, they were average to a little bit above, and last year they just fell through. The floor fell through on them. I'm not buying them. I wouldn't bet them. I'm taking the under. That's a lot of games. 9 games you have to win after a 4-8 season. Quarterback isn't even in the top 4 in terms of conference quarterbacks. That to me is a problem if your quarterback is not a top 3 or 4, and you're going to give them a chance to win the conference. Not for me. Not for me. I think they'll be improved, but I don't think they'll be 5 wins improved. I'm looking more at a 7-win season for them. So, plus, what the heck are you scheduling James Madison in the first game after he struggled last year? Why are you doing this? That could be a loss right away at James Madison. If you, then the players will be like, here we go again. If you lose to James Madison, here we go again. So, give me the under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. This is just
I can't do it, Alan. I
can't do it. You can't. You want to pick them. You want to pick them because everything that just could have gone wrong did go wrong for them last year.
Yep.
And it's like you want to pick them, but I'm going to go under too because that's just a lot to try to come back for. So,
Alan, you know what's going to happen when we start doing bets? We're going to look at Liberty. We're going to look at Liberty. We're going to look at them again, go away from them, and then come back to them. It's gonna happen a lot of times this year if we're going to bet this conference. For me, for sure, I'll be like, I just can't do it. I can't pull the trigger. So that's why. Just can't do it.
Yeah. By the way, did not mention this in the opener, but there were 2 teams that did depart from Conference USA last season. UTEP going to the Mountain West, and we talked about them last week. Louisiana Tech going to the Sun Belt to be with the other Louisiana schools. So it is down from 12 last year. So it might be a little bit easier for competition's sake, but still, I'm not sold on them. I'm not. So I'm going to go under as well for Liberty here. So now we go to Middle Tennessee. 3.5 is their line, which is kind of where they're at because they are a bottom feeder in the conference. Looking at some of their things here, Coach Derek Mason, this is a kind of a hot seat season for him. It's a make or break 2026. Tanner has down here they were 6-18 over his first 2 years of his tenure. Not great at all. And again, unproven quarterback to be decided is basically what he has down here. So they don't even know who their quarterback is going to be. Probably won't until here the next couple weeks. A lot of attrition from the portal. They did get some portal rebuild, though. Looking at their schedule, you've got Missouri State at home. You have to go to Marshall, Nevada at home, at Jacksonville State. They go to Kansas, which I'm sure Tanner's would have loved to chime in about that. October 8th bye week, and then turn around and play Delaware on a Tuesday, at FIU on a Tuesday, Kennesaw State on a Wednesday at home, Western Kentucky at Liberty, Sam Houston and New Mexico State at home to finish the season. 3.5 is their number. What do they do with this schedule? It just looks awful.
I want to go over so bad with this team. I just do. They got. So Roman Gagliano is their quarterback, sophomore. He's third all team in the Conference USA according to this magazine. So that's something. But like you said, they might beat Murray State. Tell me where you see another win on their schedule. I can't find. Maybe Nevada. Maybe. Other than that, I can't find one. So I'm going to go under. When you're a coach and you have a 6-18 record, you only know losing. You only know how to lose. You don't know how to win.
That's just the synopsis for the program. Three seasons straight where they've only had 4 wins or less.
Yep.
So that's just been their MO.
This schedule it's brutal. It might be the worst schedule in the conference, to be honest with you. Based on the team that they have, they're another team. They're another team. I hate to say it, but they're another team. And Derek, get your resume together, buddy. You're going to need to find another job. So
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm going to go under too. This is going to be a brutal season for Middle Tennessee. They need to just completely rebuild from the ground up at this point because it's just been brutal.
Kansas is a money grab for them. That's the money grab game. Kansas.
Yeah. So next up, we got Missouri State, who I believe this is their second year in FBS, if not their debut season. I believe it's their second year.
Second year.
I'm pretty sure that they played last year. Yeah. But yeah, it's their second year in FBS. Now that all the transition filings have been done, they don't have to worry about pre-conference penalties anymore, so they can qualify for post-game stuff. Which is the same for another school that we'll be talking about here when we get to the MAC. But looking at this here, coaching changes. We got a bunch of new staff coming in. Casey Woods is first year. The lone new Conference USA coach for 2026, like a brand new coach, because remember their other one, UConn's, was a transfer from another school. So brand new coach, brand new philosophy coming in. This will be their second year in Conference USA, second year in the FBS. I thought the last schedule was bad.
Look at the schedule. Oh my God!
You go to Texas A&M to start. Lindenwood right after that at home. Marshall at home. That's a tough game. At SMU.
Jeez. Oh my goodness.
October, first week of October, they get a bye week. Then you get Thursday at Western Kentucky, Wednesday, Kennesaw State at home, a Tuesday game at Delaware, a Tuesday game against Sam Houston at home, FIU on the road, New Mexico State at home, and then you end with a road trip to Jacksonville State, and then a home game against Liberty. 4.5 is the total here for Missouri State, Scott.
So Texas A&M is a $1.2 million game for them. It's in the blurb. That's the money grab game. SMU is probably somewhere in there too. I'm going under. This is a rebuilding team. New coach, as you said, new philosophy. They're a very junior senior laden team. It was 7-6 last year. I can't see them getting anywhere 5 wins, maybe at most. They'll beat Lindenwood. Marshall's going to be a tough game. They were up 10-0 in SMU, and then SMU buried them, 28-10. Texas A&M is a top 25 team right now, so that says enough. They could be 1-3 coming out of those first 4 games, and I don't see any hope of them getting this to 5 wins. They might get 5, but I'd be very shocked if they do. The conference is underrated, in my honest opinion. Looking at these schedules, these conference schedules, it's very underrated because you can't really find an easy win in it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go under. I think Missouri State has a rebuilding year. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. So,
I'm going to go slightly over. I think, sometimes it takes a new regime to kind of light a fire under a program, and I don't know. Something is telling me that this might be the team that has that magical season that we see every once in a while. That's just a team that comes out of nowhere. I think they'll be bowl eligible. I think that's probably about the best that they can hope for, which will be cool for them. But other than that, yeah, the Texas A&M road trip, the SMU road trip, those are two brutal games. But other than that, if they're able to compete, I could see them winning maybe 6 games this year. So I'll go slightly over.
They have 5 returning starters out of 22. 5. They picked 9th in the conference.
Eesh.
Well, there's another team we haven't got to that's.
Oh, just wait till these next 2 specifically are yeesh. Next on the docket, we have New Mexico State. Do I even need to say it? 4.5 right now is their win total. Head coach Tony Sanchez in his 3rd season, 7-17 record in his first 2 years. Definitely a critical 3rd season. This is his alma mater too, which makes it even worse. Yeah. You've got Trey Hendon coming over from Furman, who's a lot of people think he could maybe spark this offense, but he's unproven at this level of play. The portal attrition was terrible for them. Looking at their schedule, they go to Florida. You go to Florida State week 0. Mercyhurst at home. Go to Hawaii.
Guys, we're going on vacation. We're taking you on a vacation to Hawaii. We don't care if we win or lose. We're just taking you on a vacation. So there you go.
A very, very early bye week in September 19th. New Mexico at home, which we've been very high on New Mexico, if you've seen our Mountain West show. Western Kentucky on a Thursday. That'll be a home game, though. They go kind of a short week following that where they play at FIU, at Sam Houston, Jacksonville State at home, Liberty at home, at Missouri State, Delaware at home, at Middle Tennessee. So I will say at least the toughest part of their conference schedule is at home, at the very least. So, but looking at this here, 4.5 is the win total for New Mexico State, Scott.
So they won 4 games last year. So somebody tell me how they can win 5 or 6 this year. Florida State's down. They're not that down. They should be able to handle it.
Well, I mean, if we're going by my logic, they don't have a chance.
I know. At Hawaii, I mean, they could be 2. They would be 1-2 going into an September 19th bye. I guess the travel to Hawaii is too much for them. I guess they need to have a bye week after, and then you realize they got 2 bye weeks actually, not just 1, 2. I think they're an under team. I think they'll be improved within games. They won't show in the win column, I don't think so.
Yeah. Under. Especially, and it's unfortunate because in a make or break season for the head coach, you want to try to see a little bit of improvement, but I don't think that they will.
Yeah,
I see 4 at the most. That non-conference schedule is just brutal. The road, you got to go basically across country to Florida State, and then a few weeks later go out of the country to Hawaii. At least your air miles will be good. I'll say that.
When you have a struggling team, why are coaches and athletic directors scheduling up in the non-conference? It's only because of money. It's the only reason why they're doing this.
Yeah.
New Mexico State is not a good team, and they're going to Florida State and to Hawaii. 2 out of their 3 non-conference teams. I mean, money's great and everything, but two games I don't know. That makes no sense to me. And then we'll get to this next team.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the possible worst team in this conference? Sam Houston. Yep. 3.5 is their money line. Unproven quarterback. A lot of heavy roster departures. Phil Longo, 2nd year, brutal debut. Not a good schedule either at Troy. Tulsa, I think, is going to be improved, so that'll still be a tough home game. Nichols coming in.
And look, oh my God.
Go to Lubbock to play Texas Tech.
Oh, God.
October 1st by you go to Liberty on a Thursday, Western Kentucky at home on a Wednesday, New Mexico State at home on a Wednesday, at Missouri State on a Tuesday, at Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State at home, at Middle Tennessee, and at FIU. So a brutal conference schedule on top of, hey, go to Troy, play Tulsa, and go to Lubbock. Sam Houston's 3.5. I think I know where we're both going with this. What do we think, Scott?
Nichols? I don't know anything about Nichols. I've not looked at Nichols. They're got to be an FCS college. So. Have to be. Tulsa, like you said, could be improved. At Troy on the road to open up the season. That's not going to be an easy game. Forget about Texas Tech. You ain't winning that game. That's just a money grab, basically. Yeah, I don't see any wins except Nichols on the schedule. They could be improved. Again, same thing. Improved in games, won't show up in the win column. I'm going under. They're the worst team in the conference.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you don't even need to proofread it that much. By the way, Nichols is in the Southland Conference in FCS play. You got in the same conference as Stephen F. Austin, UT Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, they're in that conference. Okay.
McNeese, Incarnate Word, Lamar, Houston Christian, East Texas A&M.
That's my secret college basketball conference, is the Southland, because they play a lot of high-scoring games in that conference. So, but Nichols, I mean, okay, Nichols could beat them. That's not a bad conference, Southland. So Nichols can beat them. They might win 0 games.
Nichols was 4-8 last year. Their only wins came to Incarnate World, McNeese, Houston Christian, and Northwestern State. Those were all at home.
So Nichols definitely has a shot to beat them. So they might win 0 games this year. They might win 0 games.
That's crazy.
Oh, God.
It might be their only win too, if that's the case. So
yeah,
I'm going under 2. It's not even a discussion at this point. The final team here for the Conference USA, and a team that I think all three of us actually really like, Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is a 6.5 win total. You got Tyson Helton coming in. He's the longest tenured coach in the conference, 5+ years, 8+ win seasons in 6 of the last 7 years. He has done a phenomenal job of building this program up. A lot of people love them on the over because the floor just seems too high for this team. Rodney Tisdale returns. He's a proven mobile starter. Looking at their schedule here, you go to Nevada, to Georgia, to Indiana. Other than Nevada, that is a brutal non-conference schedule. But you got Mercyhurst at home, so that softens the blow a little bit. To New Mexico State, Missouri State at home, at Sam Houston, a bye week in October 20th. Delaware at home, at Middle Tennessee, Jacksonville State at home, at Liberty, and Kennesaw State at home. So their toughest conference games are actually at home. Not saying that they'll beat Indiana or Georgia, but maybe they can cover at the very least because they are that good enough to do it. But here they are. They could definitely beat Mercyhurst in Nevada, though. So 6.5 is their win total, Scott.
Oh, that's a smash over. I thought it would be like 8.5 or 9.5. That's a smash over. Mm-hmm. They have Western Kentucky. This is my conference champion, Western Kentucky, number 1. Number 2, you know the coaching staff is going, okay, we're playing Georgia, Indiana, we're going to make money, but they're going to be learning experiences for our team because Indiana's the national champion, Georgia's highly rated and possible national champion this year. Not sure about that, but so those teams are going to be good. I'm sure the coaching staff has already said to their players, listen, we got Georgia and Indiana on the schedule. Don't be intimidated by them. Go into that, play loose football. The thing I just saw about Western Kentucky, which impresses me even more, the last 12 years, in college football, they have the third most bowl wins in the last 12 years. Georgia and Minnesota are the only two ahead of them. So that proves to me that the coaching staff knows how to get their team ready as the season goes on. And that's what you want. You want to be improved as the season goes on. This is a smash over with Western Kentucky. They're going to win the conference. They might not lose a conference game, to be honest with you. I mean,
they are the second favorite behind Liberty.
Yeah, and I don't even think Liberty is as good as people think. I think they're being overrated because it's Liberty. Mm-hmm. But I can see Jacksonville State as the only in-conference game, and Kennesaw State too, so two of the last three that they could lose. If they win those both, they're going undefeated in the conference. So they're smash over for me, for sure.
Yeah, Hero Sports actually predicts Western Kentucky to win the conference as well. So
yeah, I think they'll win it. I don't.
The predictum Tanner pointed out here, it backs the Liberty pick, but Hero Sports has Western Kentucky, which it's going to be between them, Jacksonville State, and Kennesaw State for the Conference USA this year. Yep. So I like Western Kentucky on the over as well, and I agree with you, Scott. I think they're going to end up winning the conference. So I like that pick there. All right, it's time. We've been waiting for it all year. Time for some action. It's time for some action, ladies and gentlemen. The MAC conference.
Do we have flying footballs? No flying footballs? No flying.
I guess not. No. I don't know why he didn't.
Tanner Dawson, check in now.
Right?
Your ears are buzzing. You know we're talking about you.
Yeah. So preseason polls have Western Michigan as the favorite, Miami of Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Central Michigan, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. The odds makers have Western Michigan at a plus 320 favorite. Miami of Ohio is plus 360, Toledo plus 400, Ohio plus 650, 700, depending on where you look, and then Central Michigan. So that's the conference outlook in itself. Looking at it here, we're going to start with Akron, the Zips. 4.5 is their line right now. Looking at some of their things here, Joe Moreland, their head coach in his fourth year, 13-35 record. It's you want to say hot seat. I'm pretty sure it's getting about to be the temperature here in Oklahoma right now. Under Joe Moorhead's seat. So not great. Getting portal depth on both lines was good for them, though. A lot of marquee NFL losses, a lot of portal arbitration as well. Reese Poffenbarger, their all MAC conference starter. With reliable strength, which is a reliable strength for them. At least you get your quarterback back. But looking at their schedule, you go to Wake Forest. You got Robert Morris at home. You got Robert Morris at home at Minnesota, who could be a sleeper in the Big Ten. UNLV at home. God, that's actually kind of brutal if you look at it.
It is.
At Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan at home, at Miami of Ohio, at Kent State. A bye week on Halloween. I don't know why. And then when Maction starts in November, they play Ohio at home, Western Michigan at home. They go to UMass and then finish the season against Buffalo at home. So 4.5 here for the Zips, Scott.
They're going to be 1-3 after the first 4. I mean, it's almost guaranteed. You're a 5-win team. You're coming off a 5-win season last year, and you go and you schedule Wake Forest, Minnesota, and UNLV is coming to you, which is strange that they would be doing that, but they are. I'm going to go under. I just, he's done a great job. The coach has done a pretty good job at the program. But I don't see 6 or 7 wins in this lot. I see more like 3. maybe at most 4. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I think you're gonna start going through a rebuild here pretty soon if you're Akron, because it does not look good. It does not look good at all. Um, you might be able to sneak out a Wake Forest win depending on how good this team is, but Minnesota's going to be solid, and UNLV, a lot of us like, especially on this show. So that's a brutal start, and the conference doesn't get any better. So,
Alan, you want to take back what you said about Wake Forest? Here's a stat: they've lost 14 straight openers.
Yeah, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose to Wake Forest. So yeah, let's just call it the under. Let's call it the under.
Oh God!
Not good if you're an Akron Zips fan. I'm sorry.
Oh.
All right, from the absolute tragedy of Akron to another absolute tragedy in Ball State. 3.5 is their over under total. Second year head coach. I can't say his last name. I'm sorry. Second year head coach, 4-8 last year in their debut. Unproven at quarterback. A lot of turnover from the portal. Just a lot of rough stuff going on. You want terrible starts? Let's go to Ohio State to start the season. Why not?
That's what my reaction was. I looked at it and went, "Oh my God!"
You want terrible starts? Let's go to Ohio State. The team everybody loves to win the national championship this year. Stony Brook at home. Although Stony Brook might be better than people think. At Liberty, that could be a winnable game depending on what Liberty team we say. At Kent State, Toledo at home. At Northwestern in the middle of the season.
Oh God!
at Bowling Green, newcomer Sacramento State at home on the 24th. Another team with a bye week on Halloween week. And then once action kicks off, you go to UMass, Buffalo at home, at Ohio, and then finish the schedule off with Central Michigan at home. I believe that said 3.5. Yes, 3.5 here for the Ball State Cardinals, Scott.
Okay. So they're making a couple million on Ohio State. We get that. I understand it. It's going to be like 73-0 or something like that. That's going to be the final. I will say this for them. I look at this conference a lot because my school's UMass BC, obviously. So I look at this conference that UMass is in. They had a really good signing class and transfer portal. They brought in a lot of talent. They are not stockpiling for this year, so to speak, but I think next year could be a year where they rebound and become the most improved team in the conference. Having said that, when you sign that many players, they don't know what the conference is like. They don't know the philosophy yet. It's going to be a slow start. It's going to be a really slow start. That Stony Brook game on the surface looks really easy. Not going to be. It's the second game of the year. I would say the Toledo game is where they start hitting their stride, if not the Bowling Green game. I'm going to go under. I think this is a 2-win team. Again, UMass could even give them problems. And we've been bashing on UMass for 2 years now.
Yeah.
So I just think that they are a rebuilding team, but I think in 2027, this could be a team that starts to ascend upwards. But not this year. Not this year.
Yeah. I'm going to go under too. Get that payday from Ohio State. Why not? Get that large payday. And Northwestern.
Yeah.
And Northwestern.
Why are you sticking Northwestern in the middle of the schedule? I have no idea. Come on,
Makes
really?
no sense. Makes no sense. What is this? The SEC? Come on now. Stop it. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go under. They could probably get 3 at the most. We don't know what Sacramento State's going to look like in this conference. So, and they got them at home. So that could be a win steal right there. Like, plus, if you said if they catch their stride against Bowling Green, that could be where they get some of their wins from. So I'm gonna go the under, but I think at least they can get the third win, maybe a fourth, depending on how good this team plays. So
Yep.
we'll see how they are. Next team up. Speaking of Bowling Green, the Bowling Green Falcons are next up. Win under or over is that straight up five under over win total here for Bowling Green. 4.5, 5. I believe it's 4.5 is what it is, but yeah, 4.5 for Bowling Green here. Again, this is Eddie George's second year running the team. 4-8 debut last year. He's still building this roster up. Eddie did get a good roster overhaul, but a lot of stuff here, unproven at quarterback still. But this is a team that started to kind of build a little bit and starting to find a little bit of traction. You've got, looking at their schedule, you've got Tarleton State at home, although if you ask Army, that's not an easy game at all. At Nebraska, rough. At Iowa State, rough. South Florida at home, rough. At Miami of Ohio, rough. Sacramento State, again, just talked about them. We don't know what we don't know what this team is going to be. That's a home game. Ball State is a home game at Buffalo, at Western Michigan, rough. First week, November bye week, so they get to take the first week of action off. And then they got Kent State at home, at Toledo, and UMass at home to finish the season. So, Scott, they are 4.5 on the over-under for the Bowling Green Falcons.
They better be Where are the wins on this schedule? Where the heck are the wins on this schedule? Sacramento State, UMass, maybe. Where?
Maybe Ball State.
If they beat Tarleton State, maybe they're 2-2 after the first 4 because maybe they beat South Florida, but they're not beating Nebraska. They're not beating Iowa State. And their conference schedule is just so brutal. I mean, it's hard. They're going to be an improving team. I think they're going under. They could lose to Tarleton State, and then they could be 0-3 to start the season. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I think you're going to have a lot of people. Eddie George might be on the hot seat next year. I know he's still trying to rebuild, but the schedule is just tough. The schedule sometimes just does you in when you're not ready for it, and that's the nature of the job sometimes. So I'm going to go under, but we'll see how good this team looks this year. So next team, another team with an unproven quarterback, Buffalo, the Bulls. Coming in here, I believe it's either 5.5 or 6.5 is what their win totals here.
5.5 earlier today.
5.5 could be 5.5. Pete Lembo, third year, 14-11 record though, not bad for a team that's kind of been in flux. They were 5-7 last year, kind of a disappointing regress from their 9-win season in 2024. Again, kind of unproven at quarterback. You look at their schedule. They got Albany at home starting out. They go to FIU, go to Penn State, which is their lone Power 4 team. Robert Morris at home, Western Michigan at home, at Toledo, UMass at home, Bowling Green at home. Another bye week on Halloween. Why did these guys take?
Did Bowling Green miss the memo on bye weeks on Halloween?
I guess so.
They missed the memo.
I guess so. Then it's like, you know what? We'll just do it the first week in November. Why not? They start matching off at Miami of Ohio, and they go to Ball State, and then finish off with Central Michigan and at Akron to close the season. So 5.5 here for the Bulls. So
I'll admit this at the beginning. I have a blind spot for Buffalo. I like Buffalo a lot. I think their program has been really good in the past. Last year they had a dip. They did it right with this non-conference schedule. Albany, FIU, Robert Morris, and at Penn State. Penn State's a money grab, obviously. Those are 3 winnable games in non-conference for them. If they're 3-1, they're a team I'm going to wait until week 4. But if you had to right now, I'd say they're an over team based on their non-conference schedule. Then all they need is 3 wins in the conference to go over, which I think they can get because you got UMass as 1 and Akron as another.
Bowling Green as well.
And Bowling Green. So they got 3. Those are the 3 conference wins that jump right off the page. I'm going to go over. I think Buffalo rebounds. I think they get to a bowl game. I think they have a 7 or 8 win season this year. So I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over too. I like this team a lot. I think they could be a dark horse team to maybe get to the conference title game. I think, like you said, Scott, they could definitely bounce back from the slump they had last year. Maybe they could be a team that could challenge Penn State. Who knows? Because we don't know how good that Penn State team's going to look under a new first-year head coach. So maybe they could steal that one that doesn't have to beat each other. If they beat Penn State, this will be for whatever reason, if they beat Penn State, this team will be the favorite to win the conference.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yep.
But as it sits right now, I do see them in the over. They're going to build back up. I think they could get 8 or 9 wins too. So I'll go over for Buffalo here.
Oh, God, this schedule's tough, too. Look at this schedule. Nice.
Next up, we have Central Michigan. Michigan coming in, Mike Trinkle, their second-year head coach, 7-6 debut. He's a rising coaching star here in the MAC. They got a good futures bet here, as Tanner kind of points out, plus 7.5 to 750. To win the conference. He likes them as one of their dark horses to maybe win this conference. A lot of good portal returns. Angel Flores returns, who's a proven starter. We've seen a lot of in a couple conferences that have a lot of questions at quarterback. When you see a quarterback returning to a system that he knows, that's already a plus for that team. Does not play Toledo this year, that's kind of a highlight for their schedule. Here you start at New Mexico, who, yes, is going to be a tough game. You got Colgate at home, Miami at home, at Miami of Florida. Have fun with that. Akron at home, at Ohio, Western Michigan at home, Miami of Ohio at home. Just like everybody else, except for Ball State, they have the Halloween week off. They start action against Eastern Michigan on the road, Sacramento State at home, at Buffalo, and at Ball State to end the season. Central Michigan's 6.5 win total, Scott. How do you like this team?
So, into this season, the last 8 is a road dog versus ranked opponents. So, Miami's a ranked opponent. Wyoming, New Mexico on. They're 6-2 against the spread. So for this show, they're going to be underdog by over 20 points against Miami, Florida. So that might be a spot to take Central Michigan. Again, their non-conference schedules at New Mexico, Wyoming, at Miami. That's tough. Colgate's stuck in the middle there. They need 7 wins. Could they get it? Yeah, I could see them winning the last 4 games after the bye. But you got Miami of Ohio. You got Ohio. You got Western Michigan, who's going to be okay. And Akron is not going to be good. So they should start off with Akron as a win. I'm going to go slight over. I can see another 7-6 season with this team. So I'm going to go slight over, even though it could go slight under. So
again, Tanner has them as the best futures value at plus 750.
Well, best futures value, yes. But would you bet them to win the conference? I don't think so. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. I will give them the over, though. I will give them the over. This team's too good not to fall into that dip. So I'll give them the over at the very least. Eastern Michigan, another Michigan team.
Michigan directional schools.
The Michigan directional schools. Chris Creighton, the longest tenured MAC coach in conference, 13th year at the program, 61-83. Stable, but a limited ceiling, as Tanner puts it here. A lot of portal depth coming in. Did lose quite a bit. Again, another team with kind of an unproven quarterback. Highlights from their schedule, as Tanner points out, at Michigan State, at Wisconsin, and then the unknown of having Sacramento State in week 0. They start off with Sacramento State. They got San Jose State on a Friday night at home. They go to Michigan State, to Wisconsin. They got Linderwood at home, at UMass, at Akron, Toledo at home, at Ohio. The typical Halloween bye week. But they also have a bye week following their home game against Central Michigan as well. So they have 2 bye weeks in that time frame.
Yep.
And then you've got Western Michigan and Kent State at home to finish the season. I believe they're 5.5. I want to say is what I'm seeing here, because for some reason some of these are rounding up to like 6 or 5. So I'm assuming 5.5 is their win total here for Eastern Michigan. Scott, what do you like?
So I think they could split the Michigan State-Wisconsin duo. I don't think either team is that good that they can't compete and win one of those games. If they beat Sacramento State and San Jose State and 3-1 after 4 games, they're an easy over team. I think they make a bowl game. I'm going to say they go over, because if you're 3-1, then you got Lindenwood. They should be able to beat them. Then you got UMass and Akron back to back. They could beat both those teams, and then they could be off to the races. So Eastern Michigan could, in fact, be the best value to win the conference this year, because if you're 1-2, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, you're 6-1 after 7 games. Your confidence is sky high. It's through the roof. So give me
you really have only 2 tough conference opponents on this schedule.
Ohio's one. To me,
Toledo. You got Toledo, Ohio, Western Michigan, and maybe Kent State. Maybe Kent State is too.
Maybe Kent State. So yeah, I think they're an easy over team, and I think that there could be the best value on the board for an over this year in any conference. So
I'm going to go over too. I think there's a chance, depending on what Michigan State team we see, they could go into Michigan State and win that game. So I don't think they'll beat Wisconsin, but that Michigan, unless Michigan State is drastically improved, I can see them going in and winning that game.
But I will say this: we haven't got to them yet, but Notre Dame's playing Wisconsin opening week at Lambeau Field. You can see how Wisconsin's going to be. They're going to get blown out, but how they perform in that game. If they don't perform well, then I think Eastern Michigan can go in and beat them. So I think the coach and the AD did a phenomenal job at the schedule. I think this is a nice schedule they put together. So
next up, we have the Golden Flashes of Kent State. 3.5 is their under or over here. Mark Carney is second year, promoted from an interim position last year. He was made permanent around Halloween a season ago. Drew DeShields is back, one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC, best pure passers of the conference, 2025 freshman of the year. They did lose CJ Young to Miami of Ohio, which is not a good thing, but at the very least, they got some portal depth behind the Shields. Again, you have a returning quarterback. That's definitely a positive sign for you. However, at South Carolina, to start off, Wofford at home following, and then at Ohio State.
There you go. There's a loss.
At Ohio State. But then after that, you've got Ball State and Ohio at home back-to-back, at Western Michigan, at South Florida. So you've got another non-conference game just sitting in the middle of the schedule. Akron at home, at Sacramento State on a Friday night. They got a bye week. They're the other team that doesn't have a Halloween bye game. And then they start matching off at Bowling Green against Miami of Ohio at home, and then finish off the season at Eastern Michigan. So Kent State 3.5. What do we like?
So, Alan, I like looking at 2025 schedules. Okay. There are 2 games in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at Florida State and at Oklahoma. They lost those games 66-10 and 44-0 against Oklahoma. That's tough. They can't perform against teams that are better than them. They just don't perform well. So South Carolina and Ohio State, those are going to be losses. I think they're an under team. They're going to be underdog in a bunch of these games. They're not going to be a favorite very often this year. So, again, even Wofford's going to get problems. And Wofford's not a great football team. So I'm going to go under. 3.5 is a short number, but I'm still going under.
I'm actually going to go over. I think with you having a returning quarterback, they finished the season pretty strong last year. I think they could win 4 games, I think, with the schedule. And I think Tanner has the same thing. He says lean me over. So I'm actually going to go over with this team. I think they could squeak 4 wins out. So I'll go 4-8 for Kent State. Why not?
There's no UMass on the schedule, Alan and Tanner, just to let you know. So
well, speaking of UMass, it's not them, but Miami of Ohio is our next team up. 7.5 win total here for the Red Hawks. You've got the redshirt freshman coming in. He's the front runner for the job. It's not quite settled yet. I'm pretty sure it will be here soon. They did get CJ Young from Kent State. They got Rodney Nelson from Monmouth, who is the Offensive Player of the Year in the CAA. Very strong transfer class. A lot of departures going into the NFL and into the transfer portal. Chuck Martin, 12th year, second longest tenured head coach. 72 and 74, 2 MAC championships, proven and stable. They are the co-favorite to win the conference. They've had 3 straight MAC title game appearances, plus 360 to win the conference here from Miami of Ohio. Looking at their schedule, they go to Pittsburgh, Holy Cross at home, at Cincinnati, UConn at home, Bowling Green at home, at UMass, Akron at home, at Central Michigan, the traditional Halloween bye week. They start matching off at home against Buffalo, at home against Ohio, at Kent State, and at Western Michigan to finish the season off. 7.5 here for Miami of Ohio, Scott.
They're an easy over team. I mean, look, Pittsburgh's going to be tough. And then after that, Holy Cross, Cincinnati, Connecticut, Bowling Green, UMass, Akron. If they beat Pitt, they could be undefeated going into their bye week. They're an easy over team. They're going to win the conference. They're a pretty good football team. Even though you could have a freshman starting a quarterback. Chuck Martin's been there 13 years. I like Miami a lot. I think they can win the conference. I almost think they could go undefeated and possibly get into the college football playoff. Outside shot, possible. But I don't see a tough game on that schedule except Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. So they're an over team.
I like them over too. I think they'll get to the conference title game, but I do have a different team that I like as the favorite to win. But Miami of Ohio, this is a proven team. They've been there. They've done that. And if they do run the table, Scott, I do believe people have been saying, like, if they do run the table, this could be the team that sneaks into the college football playoff because of tough wins at Pitt and at Cincinnati. So that would be something to watch if they were able to do that. Although they probably wouldn't get it because people would look down on them because they're a MAC team. I hate the media, but I'm definitely going to go over. I think this is definitely going to be the favorite to win the conference. I think they will get to the conference title game. So I like Miami of Ohio this year. Now from Miami of Ohio to just straight up Ohio. the Bobcats. 6.5 on the line here. Looking at some of this stuff, John Hauser in his first full year won the Frisco Bowl as the interim head coach last year. Key to you lost Parker Navarro, and then of course Brian Smith fired in December of last year. A lot of roster continuity that did bring in a lot of good stuff here. A big major replacement job for a quarterback because you still have a lot of unproven stuff, and especially after losing Parker Navarro, who was all MAC last season. They did, like we mentioned, they did win the Frisco Bowl last year. They are plus 650, plus 700 to win the MAC championship. So there is still some hope for Ohio. They start out at Nebraska, Jacksonville State at home, at South Alabama, Stonehill at home, at Kent State, Central Michigan at home, at Sacramento State, Eastern Michigan at home, the traditional Halloween bye week, and then they start action at Akron, at Miami of Ohio, and then finish with Ball State and Toledo to round out the season. So 6.5 here for the Ohio Bobcats, Scott.
So they have one starter back on offense. That's it. So there's going to be a lot of feeling out process. It's going to be a slow start. Nebraska's not the team you want to start with. Their defense is just phenomenal. I mean, as you know, in recent years past, their defense is really good. They were 9-4 last year. They're going to take a step back. I think they're just going to be slightly under. They could go slightly over. They're either going to be 7-6 or 6-7. This team, but again, Stonehill sticks out. Jacksonville State's going to be tough. South Alabama is going to be tough. I'm going to go slight under with them.
Yeah, I think they could still finish 6-6, but other than that, it's just a tough schedule. You got to go to Miami, and then Toledo to finish the season is not going to be easy. Yeah. Jacksonville State coming in is not going to be easy. Going to Nebraska, that's your money game. That team continues to improve, so I still see 6-6. I'll still go with the slight under for Ohio here. I think they'll be competitive, but they're still like a year or two away from being in that competition in the top half of the conference. So, all right. Next up, we have the newcomer, Sacramento State, first year in FBS. And I know it says on here they're postseason eligible, but the new rule being in effect means that they will be postseason eligible. This is the other team I was mentioning that we would talk about in that case, because North Dakota State, Missouri State, of course, now eligible after their first year last year, Kennesaw State as well, who we talked about earlier. So 4.5 is their win total. You've got some interesting schedules here in the non-con. Again, they are eligible for postseason stuff, but the thing is, will they be good enough for it to actually happen? Because you have first-year head coach Alonzo Carter coming in from Arizona. He's the Arizona running backs coach last season. You do have some all-MAC preseason players like Xavier Williams and Jamar Curtis, and did get a heavy build in the portal, but you lost Cardell Williams, who followed the head coach. You have a new quarterback in the system, Ernest Campbell, lost in the portal as well. And then you had your running back go into the NFL. So a lot of big key departures there. You start off the season at Eastern Michigan, so you have a conference game right off the back in week 0. Mississippi Valley State, shout out Jerry Rice, at home. At Fresno State, North Dakota State at home. I love the fact that the two new FBS newcomers are going to be playing each other. I love that. UMass at home. A bye week on October 3rd. They didn't get the memo, Scott, much like the other two teams.
No, they did not.
Didn't get the Halloween bye week memo. At Bowling Green, Ohio at home, at Ball State, They start matching off actually on a Friday against Kent State on the day before Halloween, and then Toledo at home at Central Michigan, and finish the season off a bye week at Hawaii. So they go on vacation to end the season, pretty much. 4.5 here for Sacramento State, one of the newest member to the FBS.
Okay, first of all, they bought their way into the FBS. They paid to get into the FBS, number one. Number two, Alonzo Carter is their head coach. Without looking, Alan, he's had one other head coaching stop. Do you know where this is?
UMass.
Contra Costa Community College was his other head coaching position. This is under. This is way under. They may win 1 or 2 games. They're going to be in for rude awakening in the FBS. When you hire a coach from a community college to come in and play in a underrated, potentially really good conference, it's an under. I loved Sacramento State last year, and it proved out to be great for us on the show. I don't like them this year at all. I don't think I'll bet them at all this year. And I could see me betting against them against Hawaii at the end of the year because they'll get smacked around pretty good, I think. So give me the under. They'll be the last place team back at UMass. UMass could actually beat them. That could be a win for them. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go under too. So much turnover from last season. All of their top players are gone. You do have a couple of guys to be excited for, but 4.5 might just be too much for them right now. So,
yep.
I'm definitely going to go under. Although I hope that I get proven wrong because I'd like to see new teams come in and actually play well. So,
I do too. But you bought your way into the FBS. You paid the NCAA to put you in the FBS, and they sent you to the MAC. Thanks, NCAA. We appreciate that. So, yeah, shaky.
Yeah, very, very shaky.
Yeah.
Next up, Toledo, Ohio. The Toledo Rockets, 7.5 on the over under here. That is the tied for the highest in the conference. You've got Mike Jacobs in his first year. It was 20-6 at Mercer and did win 2 conference championships. A lot of reset, a lot of continuity, though. You did get a pretty good overhaul and a lot of transfers coming in from Mercer, of course. Jason Candle going to UConn. A lot of players followed him. DC went to Syracuse. Unproven at quarterback, but this program has been known for how good their building is, their athletics is, and how well they can quickly rebuild even with a new regime coming in. Looking at their schedule, they go to Michigan State, they got Central Connecticut at home, Temple at home, San Diego State at home. That's brutal. At Ball State, Buffalo at home, at Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan at home. The typical Halloween bye week. Then they start matching at Sacramento State, UMass at home, Bowling Green at home, and at Ohio. So Toledo 7.5 on the over/under. What do we think about Toledo?
If the Halloween bye week brings them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 5-3 record, they'll go over. If it doesn't, they'll be on the team because they got Sacramento State, UMass, Bowling Green, and Ohio. 3 of those are going to be wins. So if they can start off with a Michigan State win, which is possible, I don't know how likely it is, but it's possible. They could easily be 5-3, 6-2 going in the bye week. And if that's the case, they're going to win 10 games being the MAC championship game. So I'm going to go over. I think this team can be over, even though they have a lot of turnover, first-year coach, stuff like that. I just think they got a pretty good conference schedule. They got a lot of home games, 3, 4, 5. They got 7 home games out of 12 games. So that's helps them out. So Give me the over.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under because I think a lot of the turnover is going to cost them. They're going to still try to get used to a new system. Mercer's a solid FCS school, but FBS jumps are typically harder in the first year. So I think this will be a slight setback year for Toledo, but I think next season they'll be back right where they left off and be at the top of the conference again. So I'll say under for now, but it might be a quick turnaround. Again, it might be a quick turnaround because that's just what Toledo's been known for here lately, is that even with regime changes, they've been known for quick turnarounds. So I'll say under for this year, but next year, if we revisit this, they might be an over team for me. So, All right, Scott, it's time. UMass. UMass. 2.5 on the win total.
Oh, God.
2.5.
Oh, let me see.
Unproven at quarterback. Second year head coach who did not win a single game last year. 0-12. Definitely in a rebuild, to say the least. They do get Malik Huggins, who's an all-MAC player, all-MAC wide receiver, so that's a pretty solid addition. Nice little rebuild. Max Warner comes in as well. Their old OC is gone, which thank God probably if you're a UMass fan, because the offense couldn't do jack squat last year. But here they are. Looking at the schedule, you go to Rutgers. You have 2 home games against FCS competition in Sacred Heart and Stonehill. Go to Sacramento State. You have Eastern Michigan at home. Miami of Ohio at home. At Buffalo. At UConn. The Halloween bye week. You start Maction at home against Ball State. You go to Toledo. You have Akron at home. And you finish this season with Bowling Green. There's only one way to go if you're UMass after what we saw last year, and that's up. But is it more than 2 wins up, Scott?
All right. This magazine has the last 5 years of UMass football. Last 5 years. 0-12 last year. 2-10, 24. 3-9 and 23, and then 1-11, 1-11. I think they can win 4 games this year. As shocking as it sounds. Sacred Heart and Stonehill, they could win both those games, one of those games at least. Sacramento State, Akron, and Bowling Green you finish with. They could get to 4 wins. So I'm going to go over with them. I know it's crazy. They were awful last year. They were the worst team in college football. But I think they could rebound with 3 or 4 wins. And if they do, this coach will get a lifetime contract at UMass because it's been forever since they've been. But I'm going to go over. I think 2.5 is too short. You can't go under. On 2.5? Oh, God. Yeah. There'll be people that bet the under, and I'm sure it's plus money. But I'm going over. I think they can win 3 or 4 games this year.
I'm going over 2. I think they can win at least 4. So, again, there's nowhere to go but up if you're UMass. So, also first full year as a full-fledged member of the MAC conference. So, congratulations to UMass for that. All it took was losing every single game you played.
That's why the MAC brought him in. Hey, it's easy wins for us. Bring him in. Let's go. Bring him.
Bring him in. All right. Last but not least, our final team here in the MAC. Western Michigan, the defending MAC champions, 7.5 on the over-under here. They are the title favorites at plus 320. We'll get into their schedule here in a minute, but Lance Taylor returns for a 4th year, 20-19, 1 MAC title. Best continuity in the league is what Tanner put down here. A lot of portal reloads on defense. Brock Lowry returns, who's a proven dynamic quarterback, one of the best in the conference. Again, the team that won the conference last year. Definitely a lot to like with this team. Looking at their schedule, they start at Michigan, who, again, and I'll get to this here in a second. They start at Michigan, Monmouth at home, at Rice, Boise State at home, at Buffalo, Kent State at home, at Central Michigan, at Toledo, Bowling Green at home, which that's on the 31st. So again, they didn't get the memo of the,
They didn't get the memo either. Well, Bowling Green is the opponent, so neither one of them get the memo. So.
Neither one of them got the memo. Yeah. So they got the bye week, the first week of action, and they go to Akron to start off here on the second week of November, and then they finish at home the last 2 weeks of the season against Eastern Michigan and Miami of Ohio, which that last game, that's going to be a fun game, I think. Yep. Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan here. So 7.5 is their win total, Scott. What do we like here?
We're on the same wavelength with Michigan, I think. I think they beat Michigan in opening week. I don't know if that's what you think, but I think they beat Michigan. Only because new coach, new philosophy, and all Michigan's going to do is run the ball. They don't throw the ball effectively very often. So I think they can beat Michigan. If they beat Michigan, again, this is another schedule. I could see them one or two potholes in this. I could see them going undefeated. I don't think they'll win the title game. I've already said who I think is going to win the conference, but I could see them having a double-digit win season. And if they beat Michigan, watch out, Mac. You're in a lot of trouble this year with them. I like them a lot. They're one of 2 or 3 teams that I like a lot in this conference. Western Michigan definitely has the chops to go. If they go undefeated and they win the conference tournament and the title game, rather, they could be the playoff team. So that's what I think.
We're going to basically get this game back to back too. Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan. If both of these teams are as good as we think that they're going to be, we're basically getting this game back to back. It's basically a 1 of 2 with these two squads back to back. That's going to be excellent. Excellent. I got them on the over as well. In fact, I'm actually picking Western Michigan to win the MAC here. And, outsiders puncher's chance, especially if they beat Michigan to win, to get into the CFP and be the G6 representative. I don't have them as the G6 representative. I do think the team that beats them in week 4, a.k.a. Boise State, ends up being the team that gets in. And that's the only reason they don't get in is because they lose head-to-head to Boise State. But I do really like this team too. I'm with you, Scott. I think this team could be 11-1, 12-0, depending on what happens in a couple of these games. So I really like Western Michigan a lot. I think they'll win the conference for back-to-back seasons. All right. Time for the gigantic, large Irish elephant in the room. It is the final team we are covering today. It's the other of the 2 independent schools. We started off with UConn. We're finishing off with Notre Dame.
Is Tanner ready on location?
Tanner live on location in South Bend. But here we are. Notre Dame, the highest over-under in the entire country, 11.5. Basically, a lot of Vegas thinks that Notre Dame is not going to lose a single game this season, and a lot of people have Notre Dame as their title favorites. I mean, we don't even need to talk about their head coach. Marcus Freeman has done a fantastic job with Notre Dame.
Yes.
Got them to the national championship game 2 years ago. And if not for a bunch of media scrumming early in the season, maybe Notre Dame sneaks into the college football playoff as well. Did lose 2 brutal games in non-conference to Miami and Texas A&M, which kept them out of the playoff entirely last year. Ended up being there to win. CJ Carr, front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and year 2 as the quarterback in Notre Dame. There's a lot to love about this team. Looking at their schedule, a lot of people feel it is one of the softest schedules in the country. And if you remember, all Notre Dame has to do is finish within the top 12, and they get an automatic bid into the CFP. So keep that in mind when we talk about this. So a lot to love here. They did get a lot of NFL turnover, but they did get a lot of elite recruiting out of the transfer portal as well. A lot of people, especially looking at this report from Greg McElroy, saying that this is one of the best defensive lines in the entire country, deepest defensive line in Notre Dame history, potentially. A lot to love here, a lot to look at here. We talked about it earlier. They play Wisconsin in Lambeau Field to open the season up. So it's a neutral site game right away. They have Rice at home, Michigan State at home, go to Purdue, to North Carolina, Stanford at home. Obviously, we feel like that schedule is going to be cake for them. Maybe the Wisconsin game could be their only tough test on that, right? On that stretch, even since it is in a neutral site in Lambeau. But then here comes the interesting part. At BYU on the 17th. That's going to be a tough game. They get a bye week, thankfully, before they play Navy in Foxborough. Miami at home, Boston College at home, SMU at home, and then finishing the season at Syracuse. So 11.5 is the total.
How did Foxborough?
The nation thinks they're going undefeated, basically.
How did Foxborough get Notre Dame Navy? I have no idea how they got Notre Dame Navy. Well, that's a good get for them because those Notre Dame's national championship contender. You would want to go under. Vegas wants you to take the under. 11.5 because it's at minus 190. I'm looking at DraftKings right now. So they would want you to take the under. It's what they're tempting you with. I'm going to say they go undefeated. I think the Miami game is a revenge game for them. I think they'll be laser focused in on that game. And it's at Notre Dame, so I think they can win that game. I don't think Wisconsin's going to be too much of a problem. I think they can beat Wisconsin. The one game that I fear that they'll lose is at BYU. Altitude. BYU is going to be a good team. We already talked about them in the previews. So I'm going to say over.
How's that too? You got the Catholic school going to the Mormon school. That's crazy.
Yep, I know. I think they played at Notre Dame last year. So I think no, they did not. So the last meeting was in 22. So here's an interesting one. DraftKings has more regular season wins. Notre Dame, USC. Notre Dame is giving 2.5 games to USC. I still think Notre Dame beats USC. If Notre Dame gets 12 wins, USC is not getting to 10. So I think Notre Dame runs the table. I honestly do. I love Notre Dame this year. I have them in for national championship. They're one of my 3 teams in for national championship. The Notre Dame rule is going to get them in the college football playoff. And I hate the rule, but it's going to get them in. So give me the over.
This will probably be my hottest take of the entire season. I got them at the under. I have them losing 3 games.
I can see it.
I have them losing at BYU. I have them losing to Miami, and I have them losing to SMU. I think SMU is going to be better than people think. They've got a lot of money flowing into that program. Yep. They're basically the Texas Tech of the ACC right now. Look at what SMU's done the last 2 years. They were a playoff team 2 years ago, and they've been competing in that conference ever since they made the move. And I really like this team a lot. I think they're gonna catch Notre Dame off guard because Notre Dame's gonna walk in thinking this is gonna be the game that seals our playoff victory, and then SMU somehow wins that game. I'm not saying Notre Dame's not going to be great. They're going to be a phenomenal team. CJ Carr is going to be great. I just think some of these teams are going to be better than people think. Yep. I think BYU is going to win. I have BYU winning the Big 12. Yep. I have Miami going undefeated, winning the ACC. I have SMU competing in the ACC, potentially going to the conference championship, maybe even sneaking in as an at-large playoff team.
Yep.
So if that's the case, there has to be the losses somewhere, and I think it's going to come at the cost of Notre Dame. So I think they go 9-3. I think they'll miss the playoffs again. I don't think Marcus Freeman will be fired because I think he's done so much to rebuild that program to make him a national power once again. That's just a hot take, though. They could like you said, Scott, they can easily still go 12-0 with the team that they have.
Now, don't forget, last year they lost to Miami, and then they lost to Texas A&M right after them. But then they ran the table. They won 10 straight. So,
and they were smart to put these games at the end of the season when they would have their identity and set.
Here's the thing. Even though you think that Miami and SMU will beat them, Boston College is not going to be easy. They're the sandwich game in between Miami and SMU. They may be looking past Boston College to SMU. So
you've seen a couple times the last few years where Notre Dame is supposed to go in and completely obliterate a team and just barely hold on to beat them.
Right. So I think their spreads are going to be in the high teens, low 20s almost every game. They may be a non-spread team, which means they may have a losing record against the spread. They'll have a winning record straight up, but against the spread, they may have a losing record. Because I can see a lot of close games in this. I could see BYU being a close game. I could see Navy being a close game. Miami, SMU, Boston College, and then they go to Syracuse to end the year. That's not going to be an easy game. Syracuse could be improved. Syracuse at home is a different team. Mm-hmm. So that off of their bye week, all 5 of those games, they could be heavy double-digit favorites, except the Miami and SMU games, and not cover any of them. So it's possible.
Yeah, they could lose some of these games. They could, like you said, Scott, too. They could also go 12-0 and get to the national title game. So that's just how Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's done a phenomenal job with Notre Dame since he took over.
If they win 9 games, the only thing I'll push back on, if they win 9 games, they're going to be top 12. They're going to get in. They're going to get in. I don't think 2 years in a row college NCAA wants them out. I think they want them in.
I think they do too, but at the same time, it's like if SMU, let's say SMU wins 10 games and Miami, of course, like I said, goes undefeated, stuff like that, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time putting Notre Dame in over an SMU that beat them.
And especially, if SMU loses to them like 24-21, that'll be enough if SMU is 10 wins and Notre Dame is 9 to get them in. So, but if they beat them at Notre Dame in a nationally televised game, SMU's definitely going. So,
yeah, that game right there is the one I have circled, and I know not many people are going to watch it because of that. It's like because we've seen what SMU has been able to build the last 2 years since they got into the ACC.
Right.
If this is as good an SMU team as we think it is going to be, that is going to be the game that determines which one of those 2 schools gets to the college football playoffs.
Yes. Yeah, I can believe that. I can buy that.
Yeah. Well, there we have it.
We're done.
Every school done. Every team accounted for. A lot of predictions gone through.
Next week will be the FCS. All the FCS we're going through. So it's a 5-hour show next week.
5-hour show with all FCS schools. Maybe even throw some CFP predictions in there. Who knows? Well, I know you talked about Notre Dame being in there. I've been very high on Indiana repeating. So there's a lot of stuff we got to go through with that. And, of course, we'll be doing some NFL stuff here, hopefully. Tanner, come on now. We got to get on it. NFL's coming soon. Monday night, even though it's on a Monday night, it's the Sunday night post-game show we're going to be doing. We'll be previewing.
Pete, I agree.
Irish
Peter.
all the way, 12-0.
I agree.
We'll be doing our NFL preview starting Monday night. We'll be doing AFC this week, NFC next week. and then we'll give our playoff predictions and awards stuff the following week before we get into week 1, which will be Giants and Cowboys. Should be a fun game.
That's the Sunday night game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Giants Cowboys. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yep, in New York too. So it's gonna be fun. Anyway, what else you got going on, Scott?
I follow Tanner and you around, so all the shows that I do except for one is Tanner and Alan's show. This is Saturday, so Monday we have our preview. Wednesday, baseball show with Jonathan and yourself and myself. Thursday, I do double duty ESPN radio. Oh, no, I keep saying ESPN radio. Rec Room show at 4 Eastern. Let's talk sports. Jesus Christ, I'm all off the rails. Off the rails. Fall start Thursday night. Tanner will not be there, so it'll be me, Nick, and Sam. And then next Saturday, we'll be back and locking in. Is Tanner going to be back next week? Isn't he traveling? Is he on the road all week?
I don't know.
I'll have to find out.
I don't know. I don't know how long he's going to be gone, but it'll be interesting.
I'm assuming he'll be back next Saturday, but locking in will be award show. It's all about the award show. So for college football, and then
award show, FCS, whatever, Yep.
We'll probably stick a little NFL in, and then hopefully, and then we got week 0 bets. So it's coming. It's 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from today is the first college football game. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Also, Tanner will have his fantasy football after dark stuff once he comes back as well. So
yeah, and I'll be
check that out on the Sports Buffoons if you haven't got the chance. And if you're up late at night and need to practice your fantasy football drafting.
Yeah,
definitely helpful. Definitely helpful.
I've already done so many drafts. I'm kind of cooling it a little bit but I'll do the fantasy football after dark. But I gotta cool it. I'm in every freaking charity event league you could think of, except the Warrior Bowl, who took a year off. So that's why you haven't gotten an invite yet. So
they took the year off.
Took the year off because he was too busy with other things, he said, and he couldn't get to it. So, but I'm in every other charity that you could think of: Scott Fishbowl, Alzheimer's, child cancer. I'm in all of those. So it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. So
a lot to remember too. And we've got the LTS draft league, Rec Room draft league, all that.
I hope that's going to be broadcast again. I would think it's going to be.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be broadcast again at 22nd.
It might be on Nick. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's all 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you and I just follow each other everywhere. So whatever show you're
on. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit off David Montgomery right now.
Yeah.
His offensive line is giving me worries here, so I'm a little off David Montgomery. But
speaking of NFL preseason, I finally get to see my team play. They're the last team on the docket for this week. It's the Seahawks and Cowboys. Will end off the first preseason week. So
Joe Milton? Is that who's
it's probably going to be Joe. It's either Joe Milton or I forget who the other guy we brought in was. It's more than likely going to be Joe starting. I did hear that both Malachi Lawrence and Caleb Downs will get a few snaps in for this preseason game. That'll likely be it for
Joe
them.
Burrow last night played deep into the first quarter, which is strange. Jamar Chase Brown, all of them played deep.
Probably getting all their starters reps in early and then resting them the rest of the preseason.
Yeah. So, it should be interesting.
A lot of good preseason standouts so far. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it has been. The Dolphins wide receivers looked decent last night. The Falcons looked terrible last night against.
Drew Aller looked really good.
Drew Aller looked really good for the Steelers.
Jeremiah Love is as advertised for sure.
Could Arizona be better than we think? They're putting up points. I know they played the Panthers and the Raiders, but still, it's like they put points up. So
it's going to be intriguing. All
is.
right, Scott. Anything else before we end off?
No, Pete, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out Pete in the comments.
Yep. So subscribe to the Lock It In. We're on every Saturday. Now until
And soon to be every Saturday and Sunday.
And Sunday. Once NFL kicks off, it'll be Saturday, Sunday. So, subscribe, click, like, everything helps us out a lot. So, but no, enjoy it. Last 2 weeks without real football, and then we start. So,
absolutely. Guys, we'll see you guys next week. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe.
Hi,
Have
Tanner.
a great weekend. Hi, Tanner. Have fun in South Bend, and take care.